Hi, it's Jeff.
And Denise from Mousesteps.com.
And this is episode number 24 of Mousesteps Weekly.
Sponsored by Theme Park Connection in Winter Garden, Florida.
Our official Theme Park connection.
Whatever that means.
And Maple Leaf Tickets out of Kissimmee, Florida. Our official ticket agency. Check them out.
And we sound drunk, but we're not.
No,
I
we are
have
not
a sinus
at all.
infection, though, so I sound terrible. I'm sorry about that.
It's been a very busy, hectic time, but it's a good time.
Yes.
This was the sneak peek opening of the new Fantasyland.
And that was Friday.
Correct. That was last Friday.
We found out about it the previous Monday, but we already knew we'd be out of town in Pittsburgh that day. We were photographing a friend's wedding.
And it seems like the cat's out of the bag from looking at this line.
Everybody who told us was like, shh,
don't tell
anybody.
But I think everyone that didn't tell anybody told everybody, because it was, and this was very early. The line actually stretched all the way back to Storybook Circus by the time it opened.
Is that true?
Yeah, by the time.
We weren't there, so
right.
I don't know.
This is our good friends, the Anderssons.
Daniel and Corinne. They were the first ones in line.
First in line.
And they had told us that they would give us,
they would get video for us.
They've been very nice to get us video and
how do you like that?
Photos.
What lucky people we are. Our friends are the first in line, I tell you.
They like ran down Main Street to get there.
And they did a fantastic job. I love watching all these manager types moving the trees out of the way.
I've never been a fan of rolling trees, but it's cool to see them.
Rolling trees can be good. Rolling trees can end to goodness like this. So it's easy to clear, if you have a giant wall. Plus, it makes for a nice video.
I don't think anybody has more rolling trees than Disney does.
So here they go. They're telling everyone, don't stampede, follow slowly.
And you can tell because everybody's moving very slowly to get there. It's sort of like during Star Wars weekends after the parade, and you're going to the...
Right, you're following
the
parade people. But I like how you had Imagineers, you had cast members, all sorts of people are lined up to watch these very first guests enter the new Fantasyland.
And we do have this video also with sound, so you can hear the excitement.
Right, right.
But here you have a lot of the, Imagineers. And
I recognize.
Yes,
we recognize.
There's several that we recognize there, taking pictures of the first guests coming in.
Yeah, I love that they're taking pictures of us taking video of this whole thing and waving and very exciting. Very exciting.
And I know Corinne and Daniel, all of them, and Raven were very excited to be there, and they're going to be first
even
also
a little
in Mermaid.
Emotional from what I hear. So very good, very good. There they are. So, and here comes the crowd, and it seemed to be a orderly crowd. There was no stampede.
Isn't it crazy though? We've been following this for 2.5 years. We have over 100 videos and probably over 100 articles of the new Fantasyland, and we were out of town for 3 days.
Right, but it was okay. It was good. We had a great time.
We were very fortunate, though, to get this.
It was a great wedding, and we took care of our friends, and that's important. And here comes Gaston. There he is. Gaston's coming out to greet his fans.
He's saying hi to everybody. And there's Gaston's Tavern.
And we'll have some more of him coming up later in the show.
It was Daniel said it was a little shaky, but they were really wanting to get to Mermaid, and they were able to be the first.
It's hard to do this.
It is
standing and taking your time.
He did a great job.
You're trying to keep your first place in line, and they were the very first people to ride the Little Mermaid ride too.
And the funny thing is, we also have friends who ended up being first with Belle because they saw everybody.
Yes, everyone went to the right. They went to the left. So again, we have great friends, and we won't deny that ever. And
this area is very nicely detailed. I mean, the ride itself is very, very similar, almost exact to what is in California.
Yeah, the ride itself, I would say, is exact, except for the
no
way
Mr. Limpet,
yeah, that's true, but also the way the clamshell vehicles, they turn and face scenes differently, and they hold on the scenes a lot longer. I noticed that. So there's definitely a different movement. Very noticeable if you've ridden the California one often, like we have.
But the queue is almost an attraction itself. We were told it was interactive, but I didn't see anything like that.
Yeah, the queue is absolutely gorgeous. And actually, coming up right around here, when you go through all this, if you look into the water, which I don't think we're going to do in this video, but you could see a hidden 20,000 Leagues tribute, which will show in picture form at the end of this segment. So,
so not yet.
Right.
Okay.
I'm just showing where it is. So for future reference, right around here, this area, if you were to look back at the water, you could see the 20,000 Leagues hidden treat.
And for those who have, and you can see all these little great detail, but you can't see it as well because they're moving so fast through it. And even when you are in line for the attraction, even if it's a long line, this ride moves fast. As far as, it's sort of like the Haunted Mansion where you get in line and you could be moving pretty fast to get. It's like a people eater.
It is definitely I was just thinking of
just
that
like
exact,
in California
expression. And there's a nice bit with the little clam that you see, and you see him in various windows and things. But truthfully, this line, unless it's
is
Christmas
that what it is,
Day,
a
yeah,
clam?
see him. Is that a clam? Was that a clam?
It's some kind of
sea
critter.
Creature. Maybe he's not a clam.
I said I don't really eat seafood and stuff, so I don't know that much about the sea animals.
I'm not quite sure what he is, but you get the idea. He makes various appearances and
right in the windows, and that's pretty cool. I thought that was a nice little effect. And there's Scuttle.
Scuttle talks to you, and he's sort of like Mr. Potato Head for this.
Except that he's not a potato.
Yeah, except that he's small and a bird and not a potato. But it's the same idea. You know, he talks to you and does very animated actions. Yes.
He's looking at me funny. So anyway, the Little Mermaid queue, it's actually pretty long, but it's probably the nicest queue of any one that I can think of at Walt Disney World.
Right. Disney World really excels in the queues. I think that's the one thing they have over Disneyland is there's more space for these elaborate queues, except for Indiana Jones, of course. But this is kind of almost indie quality to me.
I would say like the same as an indie. You know, that would be more what I would think. I don't know that I would say Walt Disney World excels in
wave to the cast
queues.
members. They're so excited. If you watch the actual video with sound, they're all there's lots of hooting and hollering going on right here. And we finally arrived at the clams.
And again, this is the first guests to get onto that are not cast members getting onto the ride.
And another nice effect or a nice change here is the load control area is towards the end, towards the back there. So when you get on the clam, you're not always seeing people you know doing electronic things right up as you go into the boat. So it doesn't sully the beginning of the ride like the
I never felt my ride in California was sullied until now. So now I'm going to be thinking that.
Yeah, well,
like this is a terrible ride. No.
Some of us perhaps overthink everything.
Yeah,
but,
I didn't think that.
And there they are, they're waving, they're all dressed in their new outfits.
We don't have the ride. We don't have the ride on here yet, but maybe next week we'll talk about that.
It's for time reasons. It's already a long show. So I mean everyone has probably seen the ride, I figured. And we'll certainly have a full video of the ride coming up.
And there's pass holder previews and D23 previews and dress rehearsal previews coming up. The pass holder thing didn't go so.
It's pretty much
so good yesterday.
That's another story for another day.
But it's going to be open for different types of previews until it probably officially opens.
We're probably going to head there right after this show.
Yeah, we're actually after I go to the doctor.
Yes.
And then we're heading there.
That's a lot of information.
That's too much information.
But and here is the beautiful entrance. There's Ariel there, and there's a fast pass to your right. Fast pass.
And it's not really necessary, I don't think, for this ride. Sort of like Haunted Mansion, where it goes pretty quick.
Now we're going to meet Ariel in her new grotto.
And this isn't the one that we did together, but this is the one that Daniel and Corinne did.
Right. This is a just to show what the experience is like, and
because we have met her now too, we have made it into the grotto.
Correct. And there she is, sitting on her shell
with her tail.
Yes.
Instead of with a dress, she's actually
in the mermaid form.
Sort of like at Disneyland, I think they have her in the mermaid form as well.
She is very talkative. The only thing that I think the change it lacks is there's no Prince Eric now. She used to appear with Prince Eric, and I know a lot of the mermaid fans enjoyed that. So, although they could probably trot him out and sit him next to her on that clamshell throne.
We lose a lot of princes. Like we lose at Walt Disney World. We don't have very many
princes. It's not good
princes.
to be a prince. Like if you're a prince, your time is numbered.
I guess it's fortunate Gaston's not a prince.
Maybe they're all playing poker in the back room. You know,
I don't
there's
think
the
that's
prince.
true.
There's
Naveen.
Yeah. Well, Naveen still comes out.
I thought he only mostly came out after the parade. He's not there
Kit
as much during the day.
Fisto's probably there. He never comes out. either. Oh, and here's that tribute to the 20,000 Leagues, and it's great. It's fantastic. It's hard to see. You have to look way from above, looking down.
It's not as good as the ride.
It's a very clear, nice tribute.
And Gaston's Tavern, are we heading inside?
We are going to head inside, but first we're going to check out this nice statue of Gaston and LeFou. Do you like that statue? What's so funny?
Anytime I look at the statue now, Jeff was like...
sullied by my photo, I think.
It was my photo, but you told me,
well,
look this way.
Let's not get into that. But here is Gaston himself. And it was a pleasure for him to meet us. I'm sure of that.
I know, you told him...
Somebody told me to say that to him.
He's supposed to tell you that.
Right, and it confused him. He didn't know what to say, so it was
So he said, let's take a picture.
Yeah.
Get out of here. No.
Yeah, he loved us. I'm sure of that.
Gaston's Tavern is pretty small, but it was never that packed while we were in there.
As you could, and this is from opening day. That when these few little clips were shot by our good friend Martin Smith, and as you could see, it was packed at that point.
Oh, Martin took this?
Just those two tiny little clips there. And this is when we were there. I wanted to show the excitement of opening day, and then later on we'll show the details, like that pork shank there.
Which was kind of small for $8.
Yeah, well, we'll get into that later. I'm going to show
Are we
some
showing
pictures.
that?
Yes, we show
that.
But and here is the man himself. It is Gaston
in portrait form
with his gun, I might add,
and not a keg,
yes,
or whatever you call it. What, a barrel?
Mm-hmm. And there are some boar's heads there, very reminiscent of Harry Potter land.
Is it?
Yeah, of course.
There's a lot more probably in the Harry Potter
Gaston
land.
did use a lot of antlers in his decorating, as he seems to
likes
to promote.
Antlers.
And there was some stained glass with a big G in that last little room. We sat there and had some food the other day.
This area does remind me a little bit of the Three Broomsticks.
Well, it smells like the Three Broomsticks. I think that's the reason for having the shank.
But Three Broomsticks is much larger.
Our friends actually went to the Food and Wine Party for the Senses, and they were talking to the manager of the area, and the manager actually told them that the LeFou's Brew was their answer to butterbeer. I mean, I think that's interesting. They actually say that out loud. You know, this is our answer to and there's a LeFou's Brew.
And some people like this better. I didn't think the foam was good at all unless you mix it. You have to really mix it in.
I have been told now that if you ask for it without the foam, it's even better. Oh, there's our servers there modeling the two cups.
They were very nice. Yes. But did you like it? I mean, I like butterbeer better, but again, there's a lot of people who like
Well, there I am having my brew now. You know, I don't know. I think I like the butterbeer better, but it is growing on me.
And there's a cinnamon roll, which I guess is the same as at the bakery.
Right. And here's a healthy choice. A platter of veggies before you have your pork shank. Now, that pork shank was not huge, and, you know, it was good, but I would have liked some sauce, so I would recommend going to Cosmic Ray's, picking up some barbecue sauce.
Unless they have
putting
some
it
behind
on
the
that
counter.
shank
Maybe
there.
they have some.
Look at that. That actually looks pretty tasty.
Next time you should ask behind the counter.
I did. They have no sauce.
Okay.
That's why I'm telling the listeners to get their sauce
ahead of time.
In advance. And now we're going to check out Be Our Guest restaurant.
This is beautiful. I mean, this is definitely... you can't go and see the whole thing, but what we saw was very nice.
I mean, somebody had put a picture up of this area, and I mean, if you didn't know, you would almost think it's a national park if you didn't have that little castle up there. Gorgeous scenery.
And I love all the gargoyles.
Yes,
it actually feels very much like going to France, you know, kind of around the Notre Dame area.
I think that might have been what they were going for, actually. France.
I actually like France a lot. So.
And we had some French wine. Well, we're getting ahead of ourselves, but
at the Swan and Dolphin Food and Wine Classic, we tried their wine,
and it was the same wine they'll be serving in here, and it was actually very good, very, very good. So here's the entrance. You can see the stained glass. I don't think it is actually stained glass up ahead, but it kind of shows the story like in the movie. And there's a couple more
I don't know
entrance
if it is
gargoyles.
Or not.
It's Nicolas Cage, I think.
It is not. Somebody said it looked like Nicolas Cage. It doesn't look like Nicolas Cage.
Well, maybe in one of his...
You like to take people's jokes, but that one doesn't look like Nicolas Cage. It looks...
I didn't take people's jokes. I borrow the jokes. So here is the entrance to the other dining room, the West Wing, the very mysterious West Wing. And I'm going to steal another person's joke. just like in the movie, those computer screens in the middle.
That's from my Facebook. Jeff likes to grab stuff from everywhere.
Hey, when you hear funny, you have to share, because that was a good line. But moving on, this reminds me of inside Cinderella's castle, or Cinderella Castle.
And there were elements also, well, obviously this is Belle.
It's from the beginning of the movie,
Right.
the story.
And there were elements, one of our friends said it reminded him of the Cinderella Castle Suite, which I've actually stayed in before. And I agree with that. You know,
It looked like your pictures from the castle suite, which I didn't get to stay at, and I'm very jealous of that. But and here comes the star of the show. I think it's we're setting up to see the main ballroom. Do you know what the main ballroom is called? Is it called the main ballroom?
I'm just going to call it like the ballroom right now.
Okay. Well, here we go. It's very much like the ballroom in the movie. You have the beautiful chandeliers.
Except
and in
you
the
can't
back,
dance.
You probably could dance if you move those chairs around.
Well, if you move the chairs, but right now you can't do.
But in the back there, in those windows, it snows. And we saw the snowflakes coming down. It seems like the snowflakes are coming down at all times. And at that scene, I mean, that really looked like you were right in the movie, including the artwork on the
cherubs,
ceiling.
you can see the cherubs on the ceiling.
So
it's beautiful. It's dark, so it's hard to get really good video yet until we actually go inside and can
well, I
get a
think
little
they'll
closer.
probably keep it dark when it opens too. I mean,
But we'll be
it's the
closer
nice
to
ambiance.
everything. We'll be under the cherubs and we'll be next to the windows.
Correct.
It's a little
we'll
different.
be 2 feet closer past that rope if we're sitting in the back there.
We can walk to the windows.
And here is a very nice tapestry of nations.
No nations. And I was going to mention how I like the dining immersion. Reminds me of like the Disney Cruise Line, where you have dining rooms that really do immerse you in a story, and that's what I think Be Our Guest will be doing as well.
Yeah, kind of like was it the Palace? Did you say the Palace?
The
Royal Palace?
Is it the Royal Palace?
Well, you get the idea. It's that type of thing. Oh, there's the Beast and many more little details. I think they did a great job with detailing the restaurant from what we've seen. And this is also from the beginning of the movie. It's the beggar woman. That's actually the Beast there in his human form, and the whole setup.
Beast.
The whole setup. And there's our sad friend again. So,
he didn't get to eat it. It's not open yet. He's hungry.
He didn't get a reservation. He was very upset.
He'll be months before he gets to eat.
So we'll have more of New Fantasyland
But see,
next
he
week.
could have gone and had something to eat at the Swan and Dolphin Food and Wine Classic.
Right, and then he would have been very, very happy. Very happy, like we were at the Food and Wine Classic.
And I hope that they go to 2 weekends next year. Was only 1 weekend. This was this past weekend. It was $80. You got like 4 hours of food, including from Shula's, which had the best ribeye.
And a lot of the good food. Oh, that was some
kimonos.
Oh yeah, kimonos.
Sushi from Kimonos.
And here is your.
I had like 6 of these samples because I don't eat seafood or anything, so I just kept going back to Shula's.
And we learned if you ask nicely, they'll give you the end pieces with all the flavor. Thank you, Mr. John. That was John Frost.
Yes, who?
Yes, that was a good suggestion, sir.
The
you would not eat that.
No.
No oysters for you. But the fish tacos, also not for you, but they are delightfully good for me.
And we had Todd English was there, along with, I think his name is Michael Mina, who I didn't know who he was.
We took a picture of you with both of them. Unfortunately,
but it didn't come out very good.
The photographer was trying to juggle too much stuff, and I didn't do a good job.
And here's the wine from Be Our Guest Restaurant.
And desserts. Good.
We're moving through this so quick, but I just want to say the Food and Wine Classic, I think, is the best food and wine event that I've ever been to, and this is our 2nd year that we went.
I do prefer it over the Party for the Senses. It was that good.
So I'm looking forward to it next year again.
Thanks to our sponsors, Theme Park Connection in Winter Garden, Florida. And also coming up will be Maple Leaf Tickets in Kissimmee, Florida. And
Sorry for my voice again. I've been a little loopy today too. So
we'll have more from New Fantasyland next week.
Yep, much more.
So thanks again. Have a good one.
Have a great week.